Good morning to you. It's a wet Wednesday morning in the capital city of Abuja. Good morning once again and welcome to the show. It is the front page review on Voice of the People Abuja. It is Wednesday, the 28th of August, 2024. Good morning and welcome once again. My name is Gesiere, and of course, we're halfway through the week, but of course, we've still got news. We've got headlines as well, and this morning on the show, we will be checking out some of the biggest stories in the different newspapers across Nigeria. Looking at the headlines this morning, the president is set to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping in China. The president will depart for Beijing, China, in the first week of September, during which he will sign several MOUs with the president Xi Jinping, his Chinese counterpart. The president's spokesman, Ajuri Ngelale, said this while briefing State House correspondents on Tuesday. He said the president would also visit two major Chinese corporations, Huawei Technologies, as well as the China Rail and Construction Corporation. And this is with a view to achieve one of Mr. President's top agenda items, which is the completion of the Ibadan to Abuja segment of the Lagos-Kano high-speed rail line. This is according to what Ajuri Ngelale has said. Of course, the sectors include the president would meet with the CEOs of 10 major Chinese corporations that have got assets under management totaling over $3 trillion across multiple sectors of the economy. You're looking at information and communications technology, you're looking at oil and gas, you're looking at aluminium production, you're looking at harbor construction, dredging services, financial services, and then satellite technology as well. You have Mr. Ajuri Ngelale talking about the series of meetings and activities the president would embark on would benefit the Nigerian economy and people in the immediate future. However, there's still a lot that has to be said about different meetings that have been had for the Nigerian people, different meetings cut across different parts of Nigeria that have been had for Nigerians that are supposed to benefit Nigerians as well. When you have those different meetings, you have different presidents embarking on different meetings cut across different parts of the world. Rather, you begin to wonder, where are the developments, right? Where are the infrastructural developments that were supposed to be seen due to these meetings, right? That are supposed to be fruits of these meetings. Do you get? So, there's a lot of conversation that's going to be had concerning this, but we'll have that at 7:30. Meanwhile, a large cache of explosives, bombs have been uncovered in Niger State. The Niger State Police Command said it had uncovered a large cache of explosive devices, including bombs, IEDs, buried in multiple locations in Niger State. Although investigation is going on to unravel the sources of explosive devices, they are suspected to have been concealed by terrorists and bandits who have been wreaking havoc in several local governments in the state. Some of the local governments where these devices were uncovered, you have Galadima Kogo in Shiroro local government area, Mutundaya in Munya local government area, and Beganu area of Mina in Niger State. So there's been a lot of conversations about where these individuals are getting these equipments from, how porous are the borders. There's a lot of conversation that's to be had about that. How porous are the borders? You can't keep having people who move things to and into the country, to and from the country, outside parts of the, outside countries, bring them into Nigeria, import them into Nigeria. Then that becomes a question that's to be had about that. How are these people moving these things without being seen? Is it possible? Immigrations, is it possible that these individuals are moving these guns into the country and the country doesn't know about it? Anyway, we have on another headline here on the Punch. It's on on Orosai's report implementation. No timeline yet for Orosai's report implementation. That's what Femi Gbajabiamila is saying. The chief of staff to the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, says there is no timeline yet for the implementation of the Steve Orosai's report. He stated this on Tuesday yesterday during an interview after an official visit to the headquarters of NATI in Abuja. That's the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative in Abuja. Gbajabiamila is a former Speaker of the House, and he's debunked claims of the report being stalled. He said the federal government is working out all necessary modalities to ensure a smooth run of the policy when implemented. Gbajabiamila said Orosai's report is being worked upon. Yes, they've been talking about this for months now, but anything worth doing is worth doing well. But you also have to find out, this isn't the first time we have the Orosai's report trying to be implemented. During the Goodluck's time, it was, there was effort to implement it. During the Buhari's time as well, there was some effort made to implement the Orosai's report. However, they fell short. I mean, so you forgive the Nigerian people for asking questions as regards stalling of the implementation of the Orosai's report. It's not the first time, of course, so you're going to have questions about that. The Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, has said that he's not afraid to move against any agency of government found to be engaging in corrupt practices. He encouraged lawyers or any members of the public to come forward with such information so that it can be investigated and decisive steps taken to that effect. The SAN made these remarks while answering questions on Tuesday at a fireside chat at the NBA conference held in Lagos on the reforms undertaken by his ministry so far. Fagbemi said that a key initiative in the reviewed anti-corruption strategy of the federal government is to engage with subnational governments to ensure their buy-in and ensure domestication of anti-corruption measures into their state laws, policies, and practices. So you have state governments that the federal government is trying to engage with subnational governments to ensure that they buy into this whole anti-corruption measures, getting anti-corruption measures into their state laws, into policies, into practices, and all of that. So with regards to questions, on the contract by the Chinese firm Songshan Funcheng, that is the Chinese firm who seized the 3 different aircrafts, Nigerian aircrafts, right? But later released one. The AGF said his ministry has begun an audit of all such contracts and would make its findings available at a later date. Fagbemi said that in the area of anti-corruption, the ministry is playing a key role in supporting and coordinating efforts of our anti-corruption agencies in the area of prosecution and recovery of proceeds of crime. So we'll watch and see how all that plays out. Meanwhile, we have the current Mpox outbreak in Nigeria. It spread to 30 other local government areas in 19 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Yes, with 40 confirmed cases so far. A report from the NCDC also showed that there are so far a total of 802 suspected cases in the 33 states of the Federation. Mpox outbreak, so we need to be very, very careful about that. We had the US donating about 10,000 Mpox vaccines to Nigeria. The NCDC has confirmed a total of 39 confirmed cases and 0 deaths from Mpox. As part of efforts to mitigate the spread of Mpox, the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has donated about 10,000 vaccines to Nigeria. We have, speaking to journalists yesterday at the official handover, the Director General of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Muyiwa Aina, said the distribution of the vaccine will commence immediately and priority will be given to states with the highest cases and frontline workers. So you want to be very, very careful. There are more there are beginning to be more cases of mpox spread across Nigeria. So you want to be very, very careful about that. Meanwhile, we've got some voices in the news that I'd like to play for you. Some of the trending topics that we've been talking about on the show, different headlines so far. There's been a lot that has to be said about state policing. Yesterday, the conversation was had once again. Femi Falana, SAN, was talking about it, and the IGP being the only person who is opposed to having a state policing system here in Nigeria. Let's take a listen.
At the you ask yourself, by Wednesday or thereabout, what have we gained? Now, if I were the NBA president, I would just say 1 year, can we send 250,000 naira to each of the 128 branches for you to go and do pro bono work? Take people in detention out of detention. Challenge illegal arrests and the rest of them. At the end of the day, Nigeria leaders are lucky, including Your Excellency, sir. You know why? No, you know about security. We don't know what we are talking about when you're talking of social contract. In 2011, a lady came to me crying. What happened, madam? Her husband, a 28-year-old man who had just acquired his PhD in geophysics, was burned to death in his house during the riots in Kaduna. The government is supposed to take care of the security of the husband. The husband has been killed. Now it's the responsibility of the state. The government lawyer said, but we didn't contribute. The man was killed by rioters. And the court said, who is supposed to deal with the rioters? You are supposed to protect the life of everybody. And therefore, thou shalt pay 50 million naira to the lady. To work with your attorney general here. Accidents are plan chasing.
All right, I think I got the wrong audio there, but Femi Falana was talking about apart from the IGP, nobody else is opposed to state policing, talking about security in the country and just how much is done by the Nigerian police to ensure that every part of Nigeria is governed. There are no ungoverned spaces, as the police has been saying so far. So moving on, we have Akpata, who is also from the Edo State, the Labour Party, for the September 2024 Edo State elections, governorship elections. We have Akpata here talking about how much has
Well, first, the campaign is going well, Doctor. Going extremely well. I am grateful to God for the opportunity. For me, I'm new to the game. It's been 1 year running firstly as an aspirant, clinching the party's ticket, and then running around now as candidate. I have been around Edo State. As aspirant, I went around the state 3 times, 18 local governments. As candidate, I've gone around 2 times. And so for me, it has been a blessing because, as you can imagine, it has given me an opportunity to see my state from angles and perspectives that I had never really contemplated. So it has been going extremely well. There are problems, there are issues, but nobody ever promised it will be easy. So we are doing our best to surmount these, but it has been an exciting outing, and the people are accepting the message, and people hope is being rekindled amongst our people. Because as you can imagine, after the experience of 2023, there's despondency in the land, there is despair, and some of them very difficult for them to believe. So we're trying, but now I think we have crossed that hurdle. Am I a pawn? They say now tree won't get better fruit under the stone, so if I not get fruit, nobody go stone me now. When we started, I was supposed to be Obaseki's agent. And I had to come to this studio to debunk that. And now I'm being fingered as APC's spoiler, brought into the race by APC. And these not very smart people had to resurrect pictures and videos of my meetings with Femi Bajabiamila when he was Speaker of the House of Representatives and I was President of the Bar. We had an MOU with the House at the time to battle police reform issues. So those videos and pictures have been bandied around as evidence of my collaborating with the APC. I have published on online and print media my own rebuttal, and I've told the people that I am not one of them. They are two fingers of a leprous hand. But in fact, we call them PDAPC. We don't even bother to separate them anymore. They're the same. They've run Edo State for 25 years, and there's really nothing on ground to show. It's a continuous failure in leadership. I won't touch them with a barge pole. I will not touch either party with a barge pole. You just need to go around Edo State and see that the people are left with the very short end of the stick. So I have no godfather. I have no benefactor. God is my father, and He has been seeing me through. And the people will push us very gently into government house.
All right, so that is Olumide Apata, the Labour Party gubernatorial candidate for Edo State governorship elections on the 21st of September. And he's talking about the fact that the PDP and the APC are two fingers of a leprous hand, and he will not be touching the APC or the PDP even with a barge pole. That's huge. I mean, there's been allegations of him colluding with the APC in, at different occasions. But he's talked about the fact that he will not be, be around them in any way. Okay, we'll watch and see how all that plays out. Meanwhile, we'll be speaking to Rufai Oseni in just a moment to help us do justice to some of our headlines this morning. We need a bit of perspective, but we'll be paying a bill. We'll take a break and pay some bills, and then when we come back, we'll be speaking with Rufai Oseni. Stay there. You're welcome back. This is still the front page review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. My name is Gesira for those of you just tuning in, and we'll be speaking to Rufai Oseni in just a moment. We're live on YouTube at Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. You can join us live on YouTube. All right. Good morning to you, Rufai, and welcome. All right. Good morning to you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you guys. Good morning.
All right. Okay, so the president will be meeting with the Chinese president Xi Jinping to discuss different sectors, to discuss different sectors of the economy. You're looking at information and communications technology, oil and gas, and all of that. I mean, this isn't the first time a president is traveling out of the country for international relations and all of that. But the question is, will Nigerians be able to see some of the benefits of these meetings?
Yes, it remains to be seen. You remember the last time that they said they went to Saudi? Where is the outcome of the Saudi till date? We are still waiting on them for it. You see, what we just want is effectiveness, and we want a government that works for people. He's going to talk about the rail and some other possibilities, which are good. I think some of them are already ongoing, so he's going to be able to treat them quickly. But also, I'm sure he's also going to, by extension, talk about Chinese company and what was happening with Ogun State and collecting Nigerian property here and there. I think all of that too are going to be front border. But what we should just do is to try as much as possible to ensure that all of these things start to benefit Nigeria. We hear all of these trips. We hear the beginning, but we don't see the outcome. Or maybe the government is not communicating effectively on the outcome to us. So we can just only wait on that.
All right. We'll watch and see how that plays out. Meanwhile, Rufai, we have Femi Gbajabiamila talking about the Oroscience reports, and there's no timeline yet for the implementation. Is this a headline of surprise to you?
It's just a talk shop as usual. We knew they were not going to do anything because, you see, the report was already moribund. And after we wrote the report, we grew in ministries and MDAs. So there are also a report. Probably you have to tweak it and you have to make it fit for purpose first. Instead of the committee, we've not seen what that committee has done. So let's just be waiting on them. We just knew it was a talk shop. It was just a political zinger.
I don't know if there's a problem with this Oroscience report, because we've had it being implemented or initiated to be implemented at different points in time, and somehow we just fall short of it. So could it be that the problem is the reports?
Is it the president that has one of the biggest cabinets in Nigeria, in recent Nigerian memory, that wants to implement the Oroscience report? Didn't he, after he said he was going to implement the Oroscience report, was not when he announced Ministry of Livestock? So you can see it's not ready. It's just talk. You know, Ralph, remember since something, so what you do speaks so loud, I can't hear what you say. So that's just it. They're not ready. It's just talk. Just talk. And you see, when you just talk here and you don't do things, you start to lose the trust of the people. And that's why the people don't trust the government again. Today I ran a poll on my social media and I said, did you vote in the last election? Over 42% of people said they didn't vote in the last election. So if that was just up by my Twitter page, and on my Twitter I have over 1 million followers, and this was about a couple of thousands, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people. But it can show you the sum total of people that don't vote in elections because they don't trust government again. And that's why we keep encouraging them to vote. But it's things like this that make them not to trust government, because they just look and say, okay, it's just talk, it's government talk. See, the time they announced the Oroscience report, even was the government that was ready, would they have done something about it now? The announcement of that Oroscience report will be revamped. Wasn't it last year? Wasn't it after that time they announced that they're going to do this one they are doing, Ministry of Livestock? They're not ready.
Well, Mr. Rufai, we have six state governments, including Ekiti, Ebonyi, Jigawa, Yobe, Nasarawa, and Bayelsa, who have spent about 160 billion naira on airport projects that opposition politicians and aviation professionals have classified as unviable. I don't know what it is with state governors and
You,
creating different
you see,
airports.
that airport project is the new scam in town. You know what they do? They go and they use a state FAC as a sovereign guarantee. They go to money houses, take loans, take their shares out of the loans, start phantom airport projects, and they know it's not viable. The doctor feasibility study and all of that. Look at Mr. Omayi. He says he's an engineer. He knew that that project was not viable. He went ahead and did it. You know why it's not viable? Ebonyi State Capital, Abakaliki to Enugu is 20 minutes drive. 20 minutes drive. And there's an international airport in Enugu. So why do you need to build another airport in Ebonyi when there's an international airport in Enugu? So what they now all do is they land the plane there, they ask for one flight to come, they say inaugural flight, they are happy, and afterwards nothing happens. It's just like even the one in Anambra. You have an airport in Asaba that is just how many minutes? Less than 20 minutes into Onitsha. But you went to go and build one in Umule area or something because you want to show you've done the You have done the airport. Now, what's the air traffic? So we all know these things. Everybody now wants to have one.
But
It's like Bogoff. You remember Bogoff from MTN? Back in the days, buy one, get one free.
Yes.
Like Bogoff.
Yes.
Everybody want to have airports.
Okay. So the question I want to ask right now is, what about freight aircrafts? Even if we don't have the regular aircrafts for human movement and all that, we could have cargo aircrafts, right, at different airports. I mean, isn't that important as well? Or isn't that
should make a case for it now, Tony, and make it viable. They should make a case for it. If they make a case for it, we'll all see it. Yeah, we'll all see it. So they're not ready. It's just another way to fleece people.
All right. In Niger State, we have a large cache of explosives, bombs that were uncovered. We're talking about IEDs. We're talking about explosive devices, bombs, IEDs buried in different locations in the state.
Are you serious? That's a sad one. That's a sad one. It's a sad one. Bombs, caches, no. We need to be able to do something about it. That's why we keep calling on the government as regards the security challenges in our country. We must do better as regards.
Rufai, what's the movement of these guns? How do they? Pardon me, not guns now. The bombs, the IEDs, or are they locally made? Are they moved in one way or the other without immigrations knowing, without the police? I mean, we have a checkpoint at every single location. If you're going to the south from Abuja, you're heading towards the south, you would see
what it shows you, yes, is that this check. It shows you everywhere is porous. That's just it. So let's stop deceiving ourselves. It shows you that things are porous. So when things are porous, the state of things becomes suspect. That's just the sad reality. That's why we keep saying improve security.
There's a stretch of road. There's a stretch of road in Kogi State, somewhere in Kogi State, that you have soldiers at every 15 minutes you see a soldier. So are you trying to tell me that all those individuals, there's porosity on all those on all those at all those checkpoints?
You don't know how checkpoints operate in this country. All the checkpoints, do they have? Is there fidelity in those checkpoints? Do they have fidelity in those checkpoints? Why are you deceiving yourself? Because you talk like you're not in Nigeria. Is it checkpoint that before you get there, you give policeman money? Thank you. Bless you, sir. So, thank you. So, are you telling me, is it the checkpoint that before you reach the checkpoints, they already have, you already hand out money and you pass? So, why are you deceiving yourself? Yes, let me go have a brilliant day, Jerry.
All right, thank you so much. But wait, Rufai,
Thank you.
before you go, right? The Texas judge suspended Biden's immigration reform policy. I just wanted to pick your brains on that.
The what? The what? Suspended what?
Texas judge suspended Biden's immigration reform policy. I mean, it was one where you're going to get spouses of U.S. citizens to obtain legal status in the country.
No, don't worry. It will be challenged in court. Because the immigration policy is spread across party lines. The Republicans want hardline immigration, where they are saying go and go, but they don't want people to come in. The Republicans want a path to citizenship, which is the best, really. Because the Republicans that are now saying push people away, they forget that the development of America was as a result of mostly those Jewish immigrants that came in, that Hitler pushed away from Germany. So it's people that develop an economy. So when you are quick to push people out because some part of them commit crimes, then nothing works in the country. That's just it.
And then you also have different job descriptions that even nationals of a particular country, they're not willing to do. You have
that's part of the racial segregation that we must stop. So I'm trying to be challenged in court. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Have a good day. All right, you have the opportunity to call 0808-312-8618 is the number to call to be part of the show. 0808-312-8618. You should call and let us know what you think about any of our headlines. Meanwhile, there's one headline here on journalists and Daniel Bwala talking about journalists who are involved in crime don't have immunity. A former spokesman for the Atiku Abubakar 2023 presidential campaign, Daniel Bwala, says journalists who are allegedly involved in any crime, they don't have immunity and can be arrested by security agents. He argued that the administration of the President Bola Tinubu respects the rights of the Nigerian people, including the right to free speech. The lawyer, who is now a staunch supporter of the president, was a guest on television yesterday, and he said he'll make bold to say that they're making appreciable progress with respect to free speech, and he can count nothing less than 5 prominent critics of this government who are walking freely. For those who are arrested, you have to deal with it on a case-by-case basis, because even if you're a journalist, if you're involved in a crime, you don't have immunity. That's the point. Even if you're a lawyer or a journalist, if you're involved in a crime, you don't have immunity. Regardless of who you are, you do not have immunity. There's supposed to be equality before the law, right? But does it apply to our politicians? That's the question. Does it apply? Daniel Bwala, in regards to this, he was talking about investigative journalists who have been hounded by the Tinubu administration, with security agents arbitrarily arresting and detaining them for weeks, with their family members not knowing their whereabouts until civil society organizations and groups and activists raise alarm. There's been Juwon Shoyinka, there's been Daniel Ojukwu, Shegun Olatunji. They come to mind in the catalogue of journalists who have been picked up by state security agents of late. You have Amnesty International, you have Serap, who have described this Gestapo-styled arrest of journalists by state security agents as an echo from the past and a prominent feature of the dark years of military rule. However, Daniel Bwala is talking about journalists who were unlawfully detained. They should approach the courts to seek redress. Watch and see how all that plays out. Meanwhile, we wonder what the judgment of the courts would be in this kind of situation. Meanwhile, we have the EFCC warning lawyers against violating anti-money laundering laws. The chairman of the EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, he has urged lawyers across Nigeria to conduct a thorough background check on their clients to avoid breaching anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing regulations. Speaking during a panel discussion on money laundering at the 64th Annual General Conference of the NBA, Olukoyede emphasized the importance of due diligence in legal practice. You have a statement by the head of the media and publicity, Dele Oyewale. He was talking about the executive chairman of the EFCC calling on lawyers to always observe due diligence in their practices. It's necessary for everyone to understand the background of clients so as not to violate anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing regulations. Olukoyede has also stressed that you have lawyers who should and must uphold their position of trust and ensure that they are paid from legitimate sources. You have the EFCC trying to fasten its belt on anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing regulations cut across Nigeria, trying to get terrorism financiers, in different parts of the country. We'll watch and see how far that fight will take the EFCC. Meanwhile, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Torid Lagbaja, on Tuesday, he said the military will not heed calls for overthrow of democratically elected government to satisfy some interests. He was talking in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, at the opening ceremony of the Chief of Army Staff combined second and third quarters conference. Torid Lagbaja said the call for military takeover was majorly coming from young Nigerians who have never experienced the era of Nigeria's extensive military rule. I'm not sure about Nigerians who have been calling for a military takeover. I mean, this is a narrative that the federal government pushed, especially during the end bad governance and hunger protest beginning of August. We had the federal government pushing that particular narrative, even though we didn't hear Nigerians pushing for a military takeover. The only significant takeover that we saw was in the northern states, where we saw individuals carrying the flag of Russia, of which we're not still sure what the investigations are going to come up with at the end of that. That's about that. Thank you so much for listening to the Front Page Review. We'll take a break right about now. When we come back on the 8 o'clock